I'm dealing with the negotiation during the last 10 years because I was also the head of the strategic planning division in IDF General Staff, trying to find a solution to the problems. And I know it's more difficult now to explain what kind of security arrangements we can achieve, of course, in order to promote a peace process and peace relations between us and the Palestinians. And I will try to focus upon that. It's easier to speak about the obstacles, but I will try to manage something that maybe will help us to understand what kind of direction we need in order to achieve a peace with the Palestinians. So when we speak about the security aspect, there is three important elements. The first one, the demilitarization, and I will say some words about it. The second one is the conditional strategic depth, as General Dayan said, and I will add some information about that. And there is third element that we have to take into consideration. This is cooperation between us and the Palestinians, and the cooperation between us and others all over the Middle East. I'm speaking about regional security cooperation. The demand of Israel for demilitarization of the Palestinian future state started from the beginning, you know, in the Declaration of Principle, 1993. So this was the base for the peace process between us and the Palestinians. This is not something new. And they accepted it in the Declaration of Principles. Because this is not reasonable for Israel to accept any agreement that involved worsening in our security situation. Think about day after the agreement between us and the Palestinians, and the first rocket launched from the Palestinian territories toward Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. This is not the situation today. This is not the situation today because we keep our freedom of action by IDF in the Palestinian territories. And we understand what is the meaning fighting terrorism, because the only way to fight against terrorism is dismantle the terror infrastructure, ongoing activity every day. So even today, in the middle of the night, if there is information about terror groups, about laboratory of explosives, about suicide bomb attacker before he's going out to implement his mission, the way to stop it is by ongoing fighting. We call it in the IDF language, cutting the grass, not give them the ability to build up, not give the terror groups the ability to build up their force. So somebody have to keep that operation ongoing all the time. And we have experienced, when we speak about our cooperation with the Palestinian side, it's true that there is improvement in their activity now, especially because they're fighting against the Hamas, and they would like to improve that they have capabilities to take over or the capacity to take over, but it's not enough because in most of the area we still have to use IDF, and the Palestinian security organizations understand that if they don't operate against the terror cells and groups, we will penetrate and do that mission in order to protect ourselves. So when we speak about the future challenges, there is, let's say, something like 2 multiply 2. There is 2 kinds of threats that we have to take into consideration. The first one is the terror, and the second one is the military threats. I would like to say some word about it. But also we have to look upon 2 dimensions. Those threats that coming from the Palestinian territory, and those that coming from outside by or via the Palestinian territory, as the Palestinian territory is platform to terror groups and military operations against us. So we have to build up the security arrangements that will give the answer to the terror threat, to the military threat, inside the Palestinian territory and outside. This is the only way that we can keep our future and take the control, of course, upon the security of the people of Israel. I'm not going to mention all the threats because I assume that you are going to, or you already, somebody gave you a strategic assessment, an intelligence assessment, and we know all the threats. But we know something very important, that we cannot predict what will be the future of the Middle East. And I can tell you, as a strategic planner, when you build up your force or your response, you have to take into consideration many scenarios, because you have to be ready for many scenarios and not only to one. The Palestinians used to say that the peace will bring security. We have the lesson learned, and we understand that the peace is not bringing security. We have the answer, we have the example of the last day. And only security can create, and stable situation can create the conditions for peace process and peace relations. So we have to be focused upon the security needs of Israel and the answer of the security needs. You know, something to inform you, for example, we used during the negotiation with the Palestinians to ask them what they are going to do with Gaza, with the Hamas in Gaza. And they had only one answer. They said, if we bring very, very good agreement, the people, the Palestinian people, will vote for us and will vote for the agreement, and in that case, the Hamas will be no relevant anymore. So I asked them, and if not, if the Hamas still will be relevant, so how you are going to deal with us? They don't have any answer for that. And we have to build up the arrangements that will give the answer for all kinds of threats. So if I can describe the concept, there is three main pillars that we would like to see as part of the security arrangements. The first one is the pillar of demilitarization, the security arrangements vis-a-vis the Palestinian state or Palestinian security organizations that we would like to see in the other side of the border. They call it a viable state. When we ask them, what is the meaning of viable state? They used to say the meaning of viable state is sovereignty and contiguity. And of course, from our point of view, viable state is also stable, accountable, responsible, accountable, and effective function. So we don't want to see failed states on the other side of the border. And in that case, it's important to support them to build up their force, but for internal security missions. They don't need military force in order to achieve calm situation, in order to dismantle the terror infrastructure within the Palestinian side. They don't need aircraft, fighters, surface-to-air missiles or surface-to-surface missiles in order to dismantle terror groups or disarm militias or others. They need internal police, internal security force to take care inside the Palestinian state, to achieve calm and stable situation inside the Palestinian state, to achieve law and order there. This is the main mission of them. The main mission is not to build up a military force that they can use it against us. So another important issue that we would like to see their responsibility and their fulfillment of the obligation of the Palestinian side that already exists to prevent any terror against us, and as I said before, to dismantle the terror infrastructure. We have to keep IDF freedom of action to defend ourselves against potential threats. We need, as General Dayan said, conditional strategic depth. You know, we cannot protect Jerusalem from the line of Jerusalem. I'm not going now to details of military aspects, but in order to protect Jerusalem, we need deployment of IDF eastern to Jerusalem. We need space for maneuver, for deployment, in order to protect Jerusalem, and the same in Tel Aviv and Kfar Saba and Bat Hefer and all the towns and cities along the line between us and the Palestinians. The only way to protect these places is by operating our force in the eastern side of the line, because there is no other way to protect those places. So we are speaking about some areas that we have to keep our deployment. We are speaking about the Jordan Valley, because there is no way to keep the Palestinian state without terror infrastructure, first of all, without closing what we call the external security perimeter. We don't like to see Philadelphia corridor in the Jordan Valley. So in that case, in order to stop smuggling of weapons, infiltration of terrorists, you need effective force there. We don't see other force that can do the mission, especially when we speak about the short term. Another 3 minutes, I understand. The same when we speak about the airspace. You know, as you heard, it's less than 40 nautical miles between the Jordan Valley to the Mediterranean. It takes only 1 minute for aircraft to attack Jerusalem after crossing the Jordan Valley. So we need to respond. Every day, I can tell you, every day we scramble takeoff interceptors in order to identify aerial targets that coming from the east. And we have to wait to them along the line, along the Jordan Valley before they are crossing to our side, because if they cross to our side, we don't have any answer. So every day we scramble fighters, interceptors in order to identify, first of all, this kind of aerial targets and to protect our strategic depth, center of population, and protect Israel from any threat that's coming from the air. We cannot split the airspace, because in that case we cannot protect Israel, we cannot protect Jerusalem, we cannot protect Tel Aviv. So we need this kind, what we call the conditional strategic depth. This is the one pillar. The second pillar, maybe this is not popular what I'm going to say, but we need some international presence, especially for inspection, verification, supervision, to see that the Palestinian side fulfill its obligations according to the agreement. We need that. We need that for our legitimacy. When we decide to operate, that there will be the report from the international presence that the other side is not doing the things that they have to do according to the agreement. So the second pillars is the pillars that have to support the Palestinian and to push the Palestinian to fulfill their obligations. And the third pillars, as I said before, is the pillars of the regional security cooperation, because in order to prevent smuggling of weapons to Gaza, we have to deal with the shipment of these weapons, not only on the border. We have Egypt, we have Sudan, we have all the way from Iran. So we need regional cooperation in order to stop smuggling of weapons or doing things that are not supporting the peace process and the stability of this region. So this is the three pillars. And as I said from the beginning, we would like to say that only strong and stable security arrangements can lead to lasting, stable peace between us and the Palestinians. Thank you.